Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jamie here. I want to say a massive thanks for joining me in today's video. For those of you that are joining me on YouTube, welcome and thank you very much for being here. If this is the first time on your channel, welcome. My name is Jamie. I cover internet marketing, affiliate marketing, how to get started online, and pretty much all things digital. You won't find much in the way of fluff on this channel and no fancy editing, but if you'd like to stick around, I offer some pretty cool stuff based on the 9+ years I've had in digital marketing and affiliate marketing. So anyway, for those of you that are joining me via my Facebook group, welcome. If you'd like to drop a hashtag live, if you do happen to jump on the live, and of course, if you're on the replay, drop a hashtag replay. I'd love to hear from you guys. So what I'm going to do today, basically, I'm going to do a bit of a presentation. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, due to the software I use, I can't see who's with me as well, but I do appreciate the engagement and the love and the live. Thank you very much. All it says is Facebook user on my side. So anyway, still appreciate it. What I thought I'd do, I've got a little bit of a presentation sorted out for you guys, and where this whole thing came from is basically I see a lot of people getting a ton of engagement on Facebook, and like as we know, getting likes and comments isn't necessarily meaning you're making a whole bunch of cash. So what I'm trying to do here is basically take that next step for you guys. So it'll go from getting the mad engagement, and I'm going to give you guys a bit of a framework to basically take your prospects down, like a bit of a framework when it comes to the whole sales process. So I'm going to do my best to share my screen. Hopefully it works. I know sometimes I have a few issues with this whole thing, and doesn't always work. Right, here we go. Okay, step one, it's working so far, right? Step two, going on to the next screen. Let's see how this goes. Hopefully you guys can still see me. I, unfortunately, because I've only got a little laptop and one monitor, this is all I've got. Right, so welcome to the presentation, folks. I'm going to go through, like I say, how to turn your likes into loot. Now, loot is, of course, money. Like I say, the main thing that I see a lot of people is getting tons of engagement, many likes, hundreds of comments. And I wonder sometimes if all we're doing really is just reciprocating and we're not actually selling anything a lot of the time. And so I'm going to try and cut through a lot of that for you guys, and yeah, hopefully help you make a few sales along the way. So first and foremost, like I say, look, the engagement is obviously the first part of the equation in terms of getting your content out there. If no one's actually viewing your content, all that sort of stuff, then you're not really, you're not kind of getting in front of your audience. You're not getting your content in front of the right people, right? So that is the first part of it. But like I say, getting 300 likes versus getting a few sales is completely different. And I think the very first part of it is probably one of the most boring parts of it. I actually find this really fascinating, but I know that it's not me sitting here saying, oh, look, it's a fancy funnel that's going to change your life. It's actually mindset. It's all the stuff that goes on in here that is going to dictate your results out there. And almost like the stuff I'm teaching guys now, it's tactics, right? So one of the quotes I heard recently was, 85% of your own success is based on your own mindset. And the rest of it, the tactics can be taught. That's like 15%. And I thought that was kind of relevant. So the very first part of it is you really need to have the reasons why you're doing this in the forefront of your mind at all times. And this is quite literally even just going into Messenger to make contact with someone to see if they might be a right fit for your opportunity. Even just that. And I know that's kind of, you might be thinking, well, Jamie, why do you need to get so extreme when it's just one conversation? Because it's not just one conversation. This is many conversations over X amount of time. And you need to make sure that you're not going to burn yourself out with, oh, I didn't make a sale, and this is like the 300th conversation I've had, because it doesn't work like that. You could be in a situation where you might speak to like 15 people, you might close 2. It might be like you speak to 300 people, you close 1, you might close 0. It really does matter, but it doesn't matter, sorry. But the important part is that your reason for doing it, your why, needs to be so freaking powerful that you're going to plow through walls to make it happen. And that's the first part of it. And I can't stress that enough. I know it sounds cliche, it sounds obvious for some people, but even going into a sales environment, that's in my opinion one of the more important things to concern yourself with. So let go. So I mean this seriously, okay? So what I mean by that is when you're really just letting go of the outcome and you are focused on just your reason for doing it first and foremost, but it really doesn't matter. There's, as I've mentioned on this in this group before, there's 7.5 billion people in the world. There is ample opportunity for us all in affiliate marketing. I can assure you of that. And you just need to kind of let go of the outcome. You need to have like a what do they call it? Nothing in return, NIR mindset. Something my mentor taught me. And when you have that, it means that you're also projecting a really solid energy. It's not like, oh, please, I hope this person buys. And you're not being needy. You're not grasping. You want nothing in return. You're just trying to work out whether or not the thing that you have, which is completely badass, is going to help people. I don't know what happened, guys. My internet just went. Don't know. I appreciate you still being there, by the way. Don't know what the deal was. I'm going to share my screen again. I don't know where I was up to. I don't know where it kind of cut out. So yeah, apologies, folks. Yeah, couple of issues. How's it, JG? Hey, person. Can't see who that is, unfortunately. Right. So I was going through my little spiel. I'd spent hours working on this as well. Oh god, I have to go back to the beginning. Oh man. No, just kidding. All right, cool. Here we go. Let's go back and we'll go back to presenting, and hopefully the old YouTubes are still there as well. I don't know if you guys had the same issue. My internet just cut out, which is kind of annoying. Right, I was going through mindset, and I think I got right through to letting go. So talking about the nothing in return mindset, and when you have that, it allows you to project a very calm and a very solid energy, because you're not trying to be graspy with that person. You're not trying to like, oh, I hope this works. I hope that they buy. I hope this one person buys. Oh, please, please, please buy. You're not doing that. You're kind of chilled out about the whole process, and that is going to see you in good stead just with that alone. You got to remember that the entire process, sales comes down to not you. It's not what you want. It's not your commissions. It's not the product that you have. It's what that person wants. It's all about them. Okay. And I think when you go into these environments, these sales processes, and you're concentrating not on you and what you want, you're concentrating on how they can be helped by whatever it is that you have. It kind of changes the dynamics slightly, because it means that you're not focused on, I hope I make a commission out of this. I hope I get paid. This is going to be awesome. It's cool. I wonder if I've got something that can actually help them out. And I think that's really important. I think if you go through these things, and some of them feel a little bit uncomfortable to start with, but I think once you ingrain them into you, it's what's going to drive your business forward, because you kind of just you've got a value first approach, which I think is kind of powerful. You also don't want to invite the vampires. And what I mean by this is, one of the things that happens when you're doing organic Facebook marketing, in the format that we teach in SAA, for example, reach out to me if you'd like to learn more about that, by the way, guys, or if you're on YouTube, feel free to click that link below, check it out, see if it's for you. But one of the things that we actually had a coaching call on this today, strangely enough, and one of the comments came up that basically you're on Facebook, you're doing organic, you're reaching out to people, and that balance of providing value and answering questions for people versus them just being an absolute energy and time vampire, and kind of just like taking all that stuff and taking your knowledge and whatnot, and never like, these people never convert. When you go to make an offer to them, oh yeah, I can't. And the reason, it's actually your fault, by the way. I learned this the long and hard way. That's your fault, because you have been like a source of knowledge forever, and then all of a sudden you're just saying, oh, now you have to pay for it. Like, why? Where did this come from? You've been giving me free stuff forever. And so like I say, I mean, it's on you. You've got to make sure that you're controlling that. So you don't invite the vampires in. You don't let them into your house. And it sounds, I'm not trying to sound like you're not empathetic to people. You're not trying to help people out. But you just need to remember that this is business. You are there for a reason. You got to, like I say, put the reasons why you're doing this at the forefront of your mind, because then you're going to be able to push through. You're going to be able to say to these people, look, clearly they want something for free. How about we jump on a call? If they're not prepared to do that, then they probably don't want your help bad enough anyway. And so you got to weigh it up like that. So like I say, you still can approach these people with love, empathy, all that sort of stuff, but you just need to be very mindful of your own time, your own energy, and remember what your goals are. Remember why you're doing it. And I think those four things together can help push you forward massively, just when it comes to sales, right? So let's get into the guts of it. Woohoo! Hopefully my internet doesn't crap out. Right, so the very first thing I will say is that you got to work the numbers, okay? So one of the things I mentioned to students from time to time is, even if you're the worst salesperson in the world, but you're reaching out to 20 new people a day that are not just random people, these are people that are clearly interested in the same stuff that you are they've basically they're active on social media. They have expressed interest in I guess some of the stuff that you do. So warm leads, warm prospects, basically people that are semi-qualified at least. Even if they never turn into buyers, they're going to be more qualified than just random people off the street, right? So if you're reaching out to 20 of those per day over the course of a month, I've just used round numbers because I know some months have more, some months have less. Let's say it's about 600 per month, so 20 times 30 days. Now, if you make a very bold assumption, now, and again, don't take my word for it. Don't suggest that, or don't think that I'm suggesting to you that your conversion rate's going to be 1%, anything like that. I'm saying even if you suck at sales, even if you just use this framework and you suck at the whole process, you're probably going to stumble on a sale. Like, you're probably just going to stumble on a sale of some kind, high ticket, low ticket, whatever. And so even at a very conservative rate of just 1%, you're still looking at about 6 sales per month, right? And that's pretty cool. That's pretty doable. Now, of course, this whole process, it doesn't just work overnight. Like, sure, you could smash the outreach for like 3 days straight, and you might be able to make a sale if you're pretty decent at sales at that point. But realistically, this is a longer term game. And I think one of the analogies that I heard recently from one of our students involved in SAA, Joshua Ong, some of you guys know him, absolutely smashing it, 23K last month, amazing. Dude's got mad hustle. But one of the things that came out of that is they, back in March February, sorry, when things started working a little bit for him, he spent a lot of time just what he referred to as dropping seeds. He had this really cool analogy, which is basically he's dropping seeds in terms of planting stuff out, but some of them would land on the rocks, some would land in the water, and then some of them would land on the nice fertile soil. And so because he spent the time doing that, of course, when it rolls around to, what was it, May, bang, it's just like, picking the fruit off the trees because everything's all done. All the hard work's already, all the seeds have sown and all that sort of stuff. So I thought it was a really cool analogy. But what I'm saying is that you can use this type of thing as a basis. And for me, I personally, I find it a lot easier in terms of it, in terms of my own mental game, just to go, cool, okay, well, if I can think in numbers, then it's just a numbers game. I can go, and it means that you're not so hung up on any one conversation, not so hung up on any one result that may or may not happen. You kind of, it's not that you don't care. Of course, you want to make the sales. We're not completely altruistic just because we're doing this thing, but it's more about playing the numbers, right? So that'd be the first thing. Second thing is, I think a lot of people, they kind of underestimate when they're looking at their posts and stuff. They see people liking, and they're not really going through who's actually liking their posts. They're not really going through who's commenting, who's actually part of their groups. If you run a Facebook group as well, of course you don't have to, but for those of you that are, not everyone's reaching out to them. Like, why not? Why not just say hi? Hey, how's it going? You're in my group, and assuming it's on affiliate marketing, then one of the other recurring themes that seem to be discussed in SA at the moment is, that's a green light. That they basically, they put their hand up, said, "Hey, I'm interested in affiliate marketing." You're like, "Cool, well, welcome." So now you guys that are in my group, you now know what I'm doing when I'm trying to reach out to you. It's because I'm basically I'm trying to help out too. There's a couple of reasons. Number one is, of course, I have something I think can help pretty much everyone in the whole universe. So of course I'm keen to get it out there to see whether the people that are coming into the community are going to be the right fit for it. Also, quite honestly, I just want to learn how I can better structure the environment in my group. I want to learn how I can provide better content, not just what I think. Like, I don't know if you guys actually want to learn about outreach and all that sort of stuff, or sales. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. So that's why I reach out. But groups a massive one. Comments. So on your profile, if you're putting out content and you're getting like 100, 200 comments, have you actually spoken to all those people? I'm going to say a lot of you probably haven't. Same with likes. Like, you might get some random person that they've been sitting on the edge, they've been watching your content. They might be one of those ones that they're hesitating, oh, should I like it? Maybe not. Oh, okay, fine, I'll give it a like. There you go. There's one like for you. And those are the people that you reach out to. Hey, saw you like my post. Really appreciate how's it all going? And I think I'm not going to say it's super low hanging fruit, but it is lower hanging fruit than just completely cold outreach, right? Because these people have already engaged in your content. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm making this stat up, by the way. I don't know what the actual percentage is, but follow-up is 70% of it, right? Now what I mean by that is it doesn't just finish when you reach out to someone. When you reach out to them and you're like, hey, how's it going? I'm Jamie. How's things? You don't leave it there. Like, you follow up, you reach out to them again later on, you try and have a conversation and dialogue, and then later on you reach out. And that's the thing, right? It doesn't just necessarily happen in one go. So if you haven't made a sale just off the first communication, don't think, oh, well, that was a waste of time. Like, reach out to them again, a couple of weeks time, a week time, 3 days, who cares? Give it a shot, just test something out, right? And then when you do that, you're going to start getting a feel for how to approach different nuances of conversations, all that sort of stuff. So don't forget to follow up, of course. And also, just going back to the very first thing I mentioned when it came to mindset, is just have a goal in mind. Just make sure that you've got something in the forefront of your mind that is going to, like, okay, well, this is why I'm here. I'm not here just to learn about some sort of random thing about people. You're not a counselor. You're not there to do that. Of course, friends and family are different. I get it, but when you're doing the outreach stuff, it's for business purposes, right? So just have that in mind. Have your reason for doing it in mind, and your goal for whether it's one conversation or 20 or 10 or 5, whatever. Have a goal of what you want an outcome to be. Whether that is, I would love to leave this conversation working out whether or not this person is interested in affiliate marketing and whether they might want to join my group. That might be the first goal. It might be, you might decide to do 1 or 2 contacts to make that happen. It might be quite literally, I want to send them a link of something that I'm doing, and that's your goal per conversation. Because if you have that in the forefront of your mind, then it's going to help you cut through the stuff of, oh, okay, my kitten died, and blah blah, and grandma and auntie Bertie, made that up, all that sort of stuff. You kind of get trapped in that rapport building phase. So kind of, if you have a goal, it's going to streamline that process a little bit better. All right, so this is now, okay, I'm going to throw some stuff out there. There's a whole bunch of ways you can do it. This is just the thing I'm explaining here. I'm going to make the assumption that you've done some form of bait post, like, hey, who'd want my, I did one a while back. It was like I was getting leads for $1.39. Who wants my training on how to get leads for $1.39? Bait, that's a bait post, and you do it with like the little colored background on Facebook. They usually get a ton of comments and whatnot. So you might do something like that. And the thing is that it's a golden opportunity. It's a golden opportunity to book calls in your calendar to see if people are the right fit for what you've got now, all sorts of stuff, right? So don't dismiss it. But I'm making the assumption that that's what you've done. And the reason for that is because I could go into this whole process for ever, and that's like an entire course in itself. Okay, so this is just an overview for some of you guys. So, hey, name. I saw you commented on my post regarding X. You can also go so far as sending a screenshot as a reference point if you choose to. Are you still interested in XYZ? So, of course, I'm in affiliate marketing, so, and I'll go back to the actual post, the real life post I did, which is, hey, blah, blah, I saw you commented on my post regarding how I was getting leads for $1.39. And like I say, I might send a screenshot for reference. Are you still interested? And some people just ghost you. They were just, they I don't know, they type info on like hundreds of different things around the internet, and then they never respond. It's weird. Anyway, and then you can follow up. Look, before I send it over, is it okay if I ask you a couple of questions? So that second part of that, is it okay if I blah, 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 blah queries? That's called permission to pitch. And so it's really important that you do that rather than just going, instead of, are you still interested? Yes, I am. Great. Here's the lead magnet. Here's a little thing I dumped off or I created for you guys. All right. So, John, are you interested? Do you want to buy my stuff? Like, you kind of need to, take control of that situation and go, no, actually, you know what? Look, I've got the price. It's awesome. It's the best thing ever. But before I give it to you, is it okay if I, go down that pathway and ask you a couple of queries? Most people say, yeah, sure. No worries. Some people go, like, I really don't care. It was just, I was just trying to be nice. In which case, they're probably not your ideal clients anyway. In which case, you can go, that's cool, man. Look, bang, here you go. I'd love to kind of catch up and work out about what you're up to online in future. Follow up. Yeah. So the very first thing, and like I say, I'm gonna clarify a couple of things a bit further on in the training as well, but this is just one way of doing it. That was where I was going with it. This is one way of doing it. This whole game is about testing. Just because I've put this up there doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work every single time. There might be better ways to do it. Might be nuances that you can play with. You really need to find your own voice. But I think, and like I say, I'll explain in a little bit more depth a bit later on the framework that I suggest you use, and then why that works. So if you can, always ask what questions to start with. Okay, so if you think of, if I come to you and I just say, how's the affiliate marketing going? What's your automatic response? Good, great. Making 10 grand a day, I love it. It's probably not, but it's the same thing. To put it into context, it's the same thing as when you go to a store. And even if you went into a store quite specifically to buy something, when someone says, hey, can I help? No, fine, just looking. Like, even, oh man, actually, you know what? I wanted to talk to that person. It's human nature. So if you ask a what question, it kind of opens that up. It's called an open-ended question. So it could be anything like, what are you promoting at the moment? What are you looking at the moment? What are you doing online? What's the one that I seem to say a lot is, what's the affiliate journey been like for you? Because it's just like it doesn't allow that person a silly out. Like, yeah, good, bye, sure, yeah. Like, we don't want to deal with people that are one-word answer people. We want to get those answers out of them. Right. The second part of it, so of course, there's a bit of an intro. The second part of it, of course, is discovery and motivation. You want to work out, you're trying to discover what they're actually looking for, and whether the thing that is magical and amazing that is designed to help a whole bunch of people out, like SAA, feel free to reach out if you're interested. Like SAA, is that going to be the right thing for them? So you want to work out, discover a little bit about them and work out their motivation. So again, you want to start with the what questions. What's got you interested in that? Even quite simply, what's got you motivated to get a secondary income online? If they're working, for example. Why? Oh, well, I want to spend more time with my kids. Okay, well, why is that? Well, work, a 12-hour day as it is, and I drive 5 hours each way to work. Should live closer, bro. But where I'm going with that is kind of want to work out specifically the why part, because that's their motivation. Why are they looking at that? Why does their life suck? Like all that sort of stuff. You also want to tie them down. So a tie down, depending on the context, a tie down could be even as something as simple as, does that make sense? Do you see where I'm going? How's that feel? And a completely separate topic, by the way, that's the different types of communication. So kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. And I think there's another one, smellivationary. I made that one up. I don't know. How does that smell? That would be such a weird question to ask. How does that smell for you? Anyway, these are tie downs in one sense. But what I mean in this context is more trying to find what their direct buying motive is. Like, it's they're working long hours. They never get to see their children. They have tried and failed. They want a better life. They want the freedom. They want what having financial security is going to do for them. And that's, you know, what's the one thing that you can kind of tie the rest of the process around, type thing. So you've got to aim for that. You also want to, and this is something that's pretty important, something that I've kind of had to relearn recently, interestingly enough, was bring their pain present. How would it feel if you got that? Like, wow, okay, so your job sucks. You're driving 5 hours each way, which is, man, that's a big day. Like, if you're working 12 hours, and that, yeah, that's a big day, man. Um, yeah, so you probably like sleep for like an hour and go back to work. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, I used to be in finance, interestingly enough. Go figure. So, you know, you basically, okay, so you're doing that. You're driving miles away to your work, and, you know, things aren't looking that great. Yeah, how would it feel if you reach your goals? You've mentioned to me that you want to make, you know, 50 grand per month, and you want to, you know, upgrade your house and your wife and all that sort of stuff. Like, how would it feel if you got there? How would it what would it be like if you got to that thing? And what you're doing then is you're actually painting a bit of a picture for them, so they mentally put in their head, oh well, it'd be amazing, blah blah. But they also, at the same time, you're effectively reminding them of where they currently are. So there's a pathway there, like, oh, that's what it would feel like. But right now, I'm like right here, you know, 5 hours drive each way, 12 hours work. It's horrible. My boss is a psycho. His name's Jamie. He's a nutcase. No, just kidding. Anyway, but you kind of get the point, right? Takeaway. Now, this is kind of an interesting one, but effectively what you want is a situation where they're selling you. And so the way that you might do that, and the reason why you do that, by the way, is because you got to remember that you're the prize, like not the product, not the service, whatever. It's you. You're the prize. You're the one that's taken time out of your day to speak to this person. To, you know, you are trying to see if they are the right fit, not the other way around. And so therefore, it gets to that point where you got to make sure, well, not everyone is going to be suited to whatever it is that you've got anyway. So you do a takeaway, and the takeaway might be, depending on the context, depending on the product, it could be, what's the one that I use? I'm trying to think. It's almost so natural, it just comes out. I don't even think about it. But what do I say? Oh, that's right. Basically, along the lines of, not everyone's going to stay. We allow everyone in, but we don't necessarily keep everyone in. Why do you feel you'd be a good fit? Some of you guys that are watching the live probably heard me say that. And that's the thing. And what it does is kind of, oh, well, actually it makes it a subconscious thing, makes people kind of want it even more. It's a weird kind of dichotomy that happens in your brain. So to get them to tell you. And then of course, last part of it is just the close. And the close can be, there's a whole bunch of different ways to close realistically, and I'm happy to kind of go over those, but I think I can't actually remember. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking, did I put another slide in here? I really can't remember. So yeah, look, first part of it is permission to pitch. So you've said your piece, you've done the diagnostic process, you've worked out where their motivation is, how motivated are they? They've said, yeah, I'm super duperly crazy motivated. You know, and you've already established, you've got the financial resources, all that sort of stuff. So I guess to the point where, like, great, well, look, based on everything you've told me, I think you'd be a pretty good fit. Is it okay if I tell you a little bit about it and you can work out whether it's right for you? And so permission to pitch is kind of important because it bridges that thing, like, you've got all this information about them now, like on a platter, but then you can't really just go, cool, now I've got this information. So yeah, I'm going to tell you about my opportunity now because I've decided that I think you should buy it. You can't really do that. You've got to, you know, basically lead them into it, and it needs to be something that they are allowing you to do so, right? So is it okay? You want to explain the benefits at a 30,000 foot view. So I cover this in the next one of the next points, but a lot of people, they tend to talk themselves out of a sale. And so what they'll do is they'll go into the minutiae of the stuff that is just bollocks and doesn't matter. Like, well, it's got 375 modules, and each module is about 12 minutes long. Plus, you've actually got a couple of modules that are over 90 minutes long. Like, no one cares about that. That doesn't help. That's not a selling point. Like, I would, if someone told me that, I'd be like, I don't care. Like, why is 70 modules or whatever I just said? I have no idea. Why is 70 modules good for me? How does that help me? Like, why do I care because that's a lot of time in front of a screen watching stuff and not necessarily doing. And so it's more about painting that kind of overarching view of what it looks like. So it would be more like, you're going to get this breakthrough. And then, you mentioned that you hate driving to work. So you can actually do this from home and blah, blah, blah. And, we're getting some amazing results. Students are killing it. It's amazing. It's the best thing ever. Don't overinflate it, of course, but, you can still kind of put your own slant on it. But you realistically just need to kind of paint a 30,000 foot view. And then the next part, this is my favorite part. You got to shut up. Zip. So once you've said your piece and you've gone through it and you're basically at that point where you've gone and you've said how great it is, it's 30,000 foot view and there's benefits and it's going to help this and the benefit of the benefit and all that sort of stuff. And then the last part is you just sit there quiet, even if it gets awkward, because it will get awkward, because they're thinking, they'll probably say, well, yeah, I suppose I could do that if I really tried. And so you don't want to interrupt their train of thought, first and foremost. Secondary, it is it's an alpha beta thing. So this is another thing that I probably should have put in the mindset thing, is that circling back to the comment I made before about you being the prize. We use the term alpha and beta in this context, and basically you got to remember that you're the prize, your product is the prize, and you got to hold that frame. And so if you allow yourself to speak at that point, what it effectively does is it displays neediness, it displays subconscious discomfort with the silence, because humans don't, unless you're really intimate with each other, don't really like silence between two parties. So they feel like they need to kind of fill the holes, and so they'll just start talking about crap. And so you don't want to be the one that talks about the crap. The other person wants to talk about the crap. So that's really important, and I would almost recommend you practice it as well, because like I say, it's not a natural human thing that happens in conversations. We feel awkward, so we try to fill the holes for the most part. And so, even if you're standing in front of a mirror, just practicing it, blah, 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 and just be quiet for a while, see what happens. And you want to answer concisely. So don't fuck around and talk yourself out of a sale. This is what a lot of people do, is that they either won't shut up, or they'll think that their silence means that they need to talk more about the product or the thing, right? So how that normally would work, and I speak from experience, I've done this before, which is basically where you've explained everything, you've done the pitch is really nice, it's really well polished and practiced and stuff, and then you try to be quiet for a little bit, and then there's no sound after 5 seconds. So basically what the other thing you're going to get is like 375 modules and like whoa, I don't have the time for 370. And so basically they talk themselves out of the sale. And so if someone asks questions, and you'd be surprised, by the way, the price question very rarely comes up at this stage. It's normally other things, and it's normally like, great, well, how much time am I going to need to get it done? And you answer concisely, just bang, straight to the point. We recommend around 2 hours per day for that. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule, and I suggest that you do allow a little bit more time if you can, but you can effectively get it done in that time frame. And so on and so forth. So answer concisely. You don't need to fill holes. You don't need to start bringing in other information, because you're trying to make sure that you're not confusing people. You're just holding their concentration on what it is and whatnot. And then the last thing, of course, they will ask for the price. And you always want to try and stack the value first. So the way that you do that is, oh no, that's my little graph. That's it. I spent hours on that, actually. So yeah, you basically want to stack the value first. And what I mean by that is you'd go, okay, Mr. Jones, if you're going to jump on board, what you're going to get today, if we can get you sorted today, you're going to get my help, you're going to get access to this, you're going to get these bonuses, you're going to get a couple of puppies. We'll throw in a couple of puppies, definitely, valued at $6,000 each, because they're like freaking, I don't know, like purebreds or whatever. We can only give you a diamond ring just because we're really nice, so you get that as well. I didn't say it wasn't stolen, but you're going to get that as well. So you're basically stacking up all these bonuses, okay? And then at the end of it, you say, look, total value is X, Y, Z. And there's a whole bunch of different ways you can close. You can make the assumptive close. You can basically make, drop the price. You can either just say it exactly as it is and then move on and just kind of like assume that they're not going to be any issues with it. But what I like to do, so I'll go through that. I don't, unfortunately, no puppies. I don't have puppies to give away. I wish that would be so cool. So anyway, you've given away your puppies and your whatever, and you're stacking the value, and then you said the price. It's total value is $1 bajillion, and then at the end of that, basically, what you want to say is, but the people that we found are decisive are usually the ones that take action. The ones that take action are usually the ones that get results. So if we can get you started today, it's just price. Really, really important little detail on that. I've mentioned this quite a few times in different trainings and things like that, but you want to inflect downwards on the word. So, you don't go, it's like $10 million, because what that effectively does is it tells the other person you're not confident in the product, you're not confident on it being able to get the results that you've claimed in the sales presentation, or you're not confident in yourself. And any one of those is not something someone wants to buy. Guarantee it that you're gonna shoot the sale. So what you want to do is practice that inflection downwards. It's actually kind of important. It's so subtle, but it's really, really important. So if I was to say it, so if we can get you started today, it's just 10 mil. I wouldn't even say million, just 10 mil, whatever. But see, if you notice, again, like I say, really subtle, but my voice inflected downwards. 10 mil. You don't have to do that. But anyway, point being is that it's just important. It's part of your tonality, because otherwise it just comes across like you're nervous and unsure. And I get it. Like, I get sales when like this whole process is super uncomfortable when you first do it, or even when you've done it 100 times. Like, I still get the jitters sometimes, but I think as long as I've got this process, which I'm about to show you guys. Now, you'll notice that I didn't go into the minutia here with closing and scripting and stuff like that. And because I worked really hard on this next little graphic for you guys. Don't say I'm not good to you. So that's the whole thing. I tried to use a couple of different colors, a couple of different fonts and few shapes and stuff. Yeah, so anyway, that's the whole process. So the reason why I haven't gone into the minutia of that is because it's more important for you to know the rough framework. And I say roughly because every conversation is going to have its nuances. You're not going to, like, not every single conversation is going to be so linear that you get just to the end point, you go, blah, 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 ask your questions, and then you're at the end of it. Like, it's not always going to be like that. Sometimes it's going to go way off in a tangent. Sometimes it's going to go, all sorts of weird directions, whatever. So this framework here, hopefully you guys are taking notes, because it's pretty valuable stuff. But essentially the intro, hey, how's it going? Whatever. Like, can I, is it okay if I ask you a couple of questions before I send that thing over? Or if you've managed to bridge them to a call or whatever the case may be, same sort of thing. You just do a little bit of rapport building. Hey, how's it going? Oh, blah, blah. And then you want to obviously, go into it from there. And then it can be quite a natural transition as well. You don't need to put too much weight onto it. Just, like that question. Look, is it cool if I just ask a couple of questions to, see if it's going to fit? And that's when you get the discovery stuff, the what questions, the why questions, the what are they doing? What's it look like? Paint me a picture. And now why? Why does that suck? Why is that your dollar figure for a motivating factor? Why do you want to earn 10K per month? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with the cash once you've got it? Cool. Why is that? Why do you hate your boss? Why is it affiliate marketing that you're interested in? So on and so forth. And then you're tying it all back together. You paraphrase some of the stuff they say exactly as we've been over. Direct buying motive. Why are they looking to do this? What's the core fundamental reason? Try and bring their pain to the present as well. Like, it's always in a sales process, it's always someone is moving away from pain and towards pleasure. And you kind of just need to keep that in mind, because you're like, okay, well, I need to bring that pain to the present to motivate them to make a buying decision, because you don't want them to go through all this process and then they just go, oh, cool, think about it, thanks. Like, well, no thanks. You want to get it there so it's like bubbling at the surface, enough, right? So buying direct motivation, what motivated you to look at other options? Why are you doing this? What's it going to take? What sort of solution would you need in order for you to feel confident in moving forward with something? How would it make you feel if you didn't have to drive 5 hours each way and work 12 hours in the middle? That'd be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be great. And then again, the takeaway, like, why you? Why do you feel like you'd be a good fit? Why is this product suited for you? Why should I give you my time as a coach? That please forgive the little no just there. No, closed, and then obviously you go into the close. Now, like I say, there's just, it's almost like there's too many ways to do it. So I think it's more important for you to understand that framework rather than the nuances, and especially if you concentrate on the two things, it's just the rough kind of concept of it and the mindset. If you just worked on those two things alone, and then just going back to one of my early slides, which was the numbers thing, man, you'll be golden. So anyway, that concludes my little presentation. See what we got. Cool. Let's get rid of that stuff. I'm going to see if there's any, you're welcome to ping any questions across if you like. I don't know who's with me still. Good night, long day. You're welcome. Pierre, how's it going? Nicole, nice to see you. Thanks for joining me, guys. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's sales. Now that framework can be used for anything. That's not just, I mean, of course I used it for the context of organic Facebook marketing, but realistically you can use it on anything, and it does work incredibly well. So that's it, folks. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Hopefully you got some value out of that. Feel free to drop any comments, any questions. Happy to come back and answer them later on as well. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you tuning in, and see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.